Welcome to the Institute of Jewish Knowledge and Learning. We're with Rabbi Akiva Mann, live from Jerusalem, digging into the Tanya behind Chabad. Take it away, Rabbi.
Okay, hello everyone. How beautiful it is to see all your friendly faces, and and Shabri, we now that we're all assembled, we all shower upon you, El Na Rafana La. Please, O divine source of everything, shower upon Shabri a refuah shalema, refuah tanefesh, or refuah taguf, a healing of the body and a healing of the spirit. And slowly but surely, Shabri, the trauma of the accident will dissipate. It will dissipate. It's going to take a little. It's going to take a little effort on your part too, but you know, there are ways of slowly releasing trauma from yourself, and we all shower our blessings that happens sooner rather than later. Okay.
Thank you so much, Rabbi.
Okay, and just look around you during the class, and look at the loving eyes that are supporting you. Okay.
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 Thank you.
Okay. Friends, last week we were talking about levushim. We ended with we are all our souls dwell. They dwell in three modes of garments, of behaviors. We have to realize that our souls, the inner essence of who and what we are dressed. They're dressed up in garments. Friends, I have to go back. There's no reason not to be spontaneous. When I speak, I get imagery from my own mind, and there's no reason why I should hold back. I think I said this before at our Thursday night classes at Joan and Jack's, but I think it's relevant today because a lot of you were not there at the Thursday classes. Do you remember the movie Cocoon? I need to see your heads nod, or else it's gonna be a metaphor that might just go like right over us. Yeah, we remember Cocoon. I think this is such a strong metaphor. I would rent the movie Cocoon just to see this scene that I'm about to describe. And the scene is one where one of the aliens, and she's a female and a really good-looking female. They are on the boat that the humans are trying to extract the cocoons from the deep depths of the sea, those egg aliens, and they're trying to retrieve it. So she is one of the ostensible crew members, but she's really an alien that is there to protect the cocoons. And there is a scene where some of the humans on the ship that see her through a little peephole getting undressed. So she looks like a hot human female, and they are kind of like they are kind of interested, and they see her undress through some hole in the rooms. And what they see is, as she is undressing her skin, and as she is exposing herself, there is bright light coming out of her. And the more she takes off her garments, the brighter the light there is, until her clothing is totally off, and all they see is this unbelievable, unimaginable bright light at the core of her. And when I saw the movie, like now it's decades ago, I all of a sudden, like in a very visual way, started understanding what our souls are. The soul is that bright light that is contained within, but we garment the soul. We cover the soul with many layers of stuff. If we would only be able to actually realize and know of the power that is within, then we would be able to function better. So Reb Shneur Zalman is saying the same thing. He's saying that there is an energy level that the soul, the human soul, exudes, that in potentia, in potential, the core of the soul is that bright light. But the bright light, in order to to be seen in order to be experienced, it actually requires three essential garments in order to be able to transmit the light within. And those three garments we ended last week is that the soul is clothed in, is the garment of machshava, of thought, that inner ineffable energy within the human soul is able to manifest itself through machshava, through our thought processes, through dibur, through our ability of communication, which is like a gewalt. We take it for granted that we can talk, that we can transmit verbally, but it's really an unbelievable vehicle and tool and garment. And the next one is we manifest the inner core of our souls through ma'aseh, through action, through deed. Thought, word, deed. Thought, word, deed are the three major vehicles through which the human soul manifests itself. Do we now we're going to talk deeply about these three. Do we get that? These are the we are taking the highest energy of human potential, the soul, and we are saying that the soul is able to manifest itself in three major ways. So those three major ways are going to be defining actually our humanity and our spirituality. If these are the three ways of manifestation, then these are the three ways in which the soul can become real for us. Any questions, any comments? Quick.
Donna and then Debbie.
Hi, everybody. Good to see you. I have a couple of comments of what you just said. I guess I process a little bit backwards from what you're doing. So to me, it's a matter of, Kimmy, I just see you. I can't see the rabbi. For some reason, I'll change my view. So for me, it's a matter of realizing that our skin, like in cocoon, is the garment that is covering our soul. And it is also, in my experience, it's also the ego that speaks the same language as the soul through thought, word, and deed. And although it's not, it might be simple, it's not so easy to identify which thought is speaking to us, which words are coming from our mouths, and what deeds and actions are we putting forth. Is it the actions, the thoughts, the words of the ego, or is it the actions, the words, and the thought of the soul? And I think that to me is the primary lesson to learn, that we are a garment. or we have a garment and we are a divine soul, but we have to be able to differentiate who is speaking to us, trying to understand the still small voice within us that all of the layers of our garments tend to cover up. The ego definitely speaks first, and it definitely speaks louder. You have to sit quietly, in my experience, to hear the voice of the soul and to be able to know, because it will speak second and it will be in a much softer voice.
That Donna, firstly, that's in your experience. Others would say the opposite.
Okay.
And I do believe sometimes you said the opposite. That
Without
your
getting-
soul, that your soul spoke to you first before. So you're getting into complex areas. Who is speaking? I would like right now to concentrate on yes, you are absolutely correct. What voice is speaking to us is a very important aspect. But again, sometimes the soul is speaking to us primarily, and the exterior is secondary, and sometimes the opposite is true. And I have just proof of I have heard you say the exact opposite. Sometimes your soul is the dominant voice. So we're not going to get into what we are hearing. I would like to concentrate on the vehicles, on the actual tools that we have, and a consciousness of how the tools are intermingling and working with the soul. Okay, so I appreciate your comment, but I'd like to deal with it on a more
we're ready to move on.
Functional level.
Thank you, Akiva, and I agree with you. It takes practice, and they are.
Yeah.
Debbie, you are up next.
On the Deborah level, once we open up that skin and the light shining, I get the feeling that it's an essence. I need a Hebrew word for what that essence might be, or that energy. Again, that light that you're talking about, which I'm so right there.
Debbie, thank you for cornering me, but we have mentioned that before. The Hebrew mystical terminology for this is nefesh Elohit. Nefesh Elohit, the divine soul.
Okay, you're back. You're back, Rabbi.
The divine essence with that is the makeup of our soul. Okay, so there are three garments, three major clothing that the soul is able to express itself, to manifest itself. How is your inner being? What are the three ways that it is able to expand and express and manifest? Machshava, thought, through word, dibur, and through maaseh, through action. And we're not going to start with machshava. We're not going to start with the higher realm. We actually are going to start with the lower realm. And by lower, I mean the closest to us, the more tangible. I don't mean lower. I mean the more tangible, the closer. Our invisible soul energy becomes visible, tangible, by means of our actions on a most primary level. The world, the realm of action is the most primary. And when I say primary, I mean what I am saying. I mean, it is the world of action is our the human way of transmission, of manifestation. It is very, very primary. Our the world of deed, what we do with our hands. You know, unfortunately, I in my experiences, I have been in close proximity to death. Over a rabbi's career, you get to be privy to actual death, you know, to the moment, to that holy moment of death. And one of the amazing insights and experiences of being present at death, at a death, is the immediate traumatic inability for that person that was moving a second ago and not moving, not being able to move any longer. Like it's very primary. It's primitive. It's very core. The person is not able to move any longer. And that points to the antithesis that are one of our primary human privileges is mamish to be able to, on the action level, on the deed level, to move, to do. So we get the human being gets on an elemental level, gets dressed up in the realm of action. And the realm of our deeds affect the soul tremendously on a very primary level. the clothing of our world of action in the Torah, in Jewish mysticism and the Torah, is called what? This world of action that affects the soul and coordinates with the soul, as Donna indicated. It has to coordinate somehow. But the world of what we are able to do and how and the effect it has on the inner core of our being, on our neshama, is simply called the world of mitzvot. A mitzvah is an action, whether it's a ritual or an ethical or it doesn't matter. But a mitzvah is an action that on a primary level is working in coordination with our soul and has a deep effect on our inner essence and in our inner being. In fact, friends, the entire spectrum of the Torah's spiritual guidance system begins with mitzvot. And there are different types of mitzvot. I don't want to get into it. There are 5 basic different categories of mitzvot, but they all stem from the world of action. We choose to get dressed up in acts of loving kindness, in acts of if you may, in acts of decisions and acts of gentleness and of consideration, and then of empathy, or we choose to get dressed up in acts, in behaviors of callousness, of harshness, of pissed offness. We choose to act, and when we act, we are getting dressed up, either in mamish loving kindness, or we get dressed up in callousness. And callousness and all of that, you know what? You know what? If you get dressed up enough, it leads to evil. And evil leads to inhumane behavior. What's happening, like the inhumane behavior that is occurring over the world does not go from beautiful to evil in one second. How evil occurs is it's a gradual garment laying of stuff after callousness, after non-empathy, non-sympathy. It builds and builds and builds until the garments are so thick that it becomes into it morphs into an evil. Evil doesn't come out of nowhere. So whichever way we choose to go, in terms of our deeds, our soul is going to be affected. Our soul is going to be invested. Think of that word. Our soul is going to be invested in the manifestation of what we do. And what Rabbi Shneur Zalman is basically saying here is he was speaking in the mid 1700s, but late 100 years or 150 years later, we call that behavioral psychology. How we behave on the deed level is going to affect your psychology, is going to affect your psyche. And he was speaking about it 200 years beforehand, that the soul is invested in your behavior. And depending on how we behave, how we act on a very primary level, is going to produce the light or the dimming of the light of your soul. So let me switch a little bit. It is for this reason in contemporary and old time Chabad theology, except today it's so utterly obvious today, I think, as opposed to in the mid 1700s. It is for, this is just an aside, it is for that reason, because deed affects tremendously the soul. It is for that reason why you and in all countries of the world, you will see Chabad people putting tefillin on. You go to Florida. You go to Sarah's tent. You go to Sarah's tent in Aventura. You're going to see a little in front of the entrance. You're going to see a little table with Chabad guys putting tefillin on those who volunteer to put tefillin on. Why? It is for that reason why you're going to see Chabadniks going around with a sukkah mobile, that during sukkahs, come into my mobile sukkah that is being suspended on a U-Haul trailer, and come in and shake a lulav and etrog in my mobile sukkah. It is for that because deed, the behavioral psychology is that deed affects the inner essence. Have the experience, they say, even if it's for a second, even if it's a casual thing, it's their belief in deed is enormously, it's a little, even to me, sometimes it's a little amazing. It's a little amazing. What is it going to do? I shook the lulav. I put on tefillin. You know, like big deal.
Rabbi Akiva, do you want to take a couple of questions?
Not yet. Not just
Okay.
yet. Not just
Okay.
yet. And if you think that is a little like extremist, then you can feel you're allowed to feel that way. All I'm indicating is that the realm of deed is in Chabad theology is extremely important, vital, and holy. It is the beginning of everything. I think if we would take that like a notch lower, I do believe I have heard from so many of you guys that you remember the JNF blue and white tzedakah boxes that your grandmother, before lighting Shabbos candles, the JNF boxes. You know what that was all about? That was all about before Shabbos. We had it in my home. We had a few tzedakah boxes in our home that before Shabbos we were all given some coins, and in quite a perfunctory type of ritual, we were taught to put coins in each of the 3 or 4 tzedakah boxes. We were taught at the age of 2 and 3 and 4, and this is a continued tradition, that children were taught to give charity. How else are they going to be trained on the elemental level, on the behavioral level? I want my 3-year-old to know to give tzedakah. So maybe when they are 35 and entrepreneurs, they will remember that. Deed, the realm of deed is unbelievably powerful. Okay, Kim.
Okay, Nita has her blue and white JNF can right there. So you weren't kidding. So Shabri is up, and then if Susan Schreiber still has something she'd like to share after, and then Mike.
So Rabbi and everyone, thank you for your blessings. Thank you. Means a lot to me. What I was thinking about is, well, you'd never mentioned silence. You mentioned deed and, the 3 things that we should be aware of and do in our life in order to become that light. But I always, when I sit in meditation and I'm silent, I get that feeling that it's just around the corner, so to speak.
Okay.
Enlightenment. And the second thing I'd like to talk about is,
hold on, Shabri. Let me take care of silence.
Take care of it.
Silence is much more sublime than the realm of deed. and we are going from primary, elemental, lower to higher. And the actual truth is that silence is going to be in the higher realm of machshava, of silent thought. So we're not up to there yet.
Okay, I want to jump.
Second.
The second thing I'm thinking about is you mentioned that once we pass away, we can't move. But I don't know if you would like to, I would like to anyway, change that thought to a thought of, well, when I die, even though you don't see me moving, but I might be moving in another realm. I might be moving in another realm.
I totally agree. But I hate to break the news to you, but your legs and your arms and the blinking of your eyelids will not be moving. You will be moving in a different realm, in a different way, but your eyelids and your arms and your legs will not be moving.
So I have to take care of what I have now.
Okay. Susan, you're okay? Mike has his hand up.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning. Hi, everybody. Rabbi.
Hi, Mike.
I want to talk about choice that you mentioned in a minute, but before that, just to acknowledge what you were saying about the power of deed. And if you go back in our minds to being at the Tree of Life when we were there doing services, and you had us multiple times, but the one that came to mind when you were talking this morning was when we were parading the Torah through the congregation, through the people, all of us that were there, and you had us each, or as many as you could, hold the Torah, take a couple of steps, give it to somebody else, hold the Torah, I can just picture myself sitting there holding the Torah and people coming around and walking through. It was just the deed of doing it, just the energy and the connection to that. So just to acknowledge and thank you again for that experience.
Thank you, Mike. Mike, I want to mention one thing that you sparked. When we talk about the realm of maaseh, of the world of deed, like every one of us, we are attracted to the Institute of Jewish Knowledge and Learning. We are attracted to this way of experiencing Jewish spirituality on one level, because we are yearning for and we are seeking what we can call in the modern vernacular the experiential. Experiential is a synonym for the world of maaseh. Maaseh means the world of deed, but what Reb Shneur Zalman and Jewish mystics were saying is that the world of deed creates for oneself the experiential. So let's create synonyms for the world of deed, and experiential is I want to experience it, not only in my head, not only in my heart and my soul, but I want to mamish experience it. Experiential and the world of maaseh are the same. Thank you, Mike. Go ahead with your second point.
Sure. So you mentioned choice and the ability to choose to do hopefully the right thing rather than the wrong thing. And sometimes the choice is difficult, and our old habits kind of jump in. And I just want to give you, because I know we've spoken about baseball a couple of times, little baseball analogy of the ball's coming in and you're standing there poised to swing at it, and you have maybe a quarter of a second to make a choice. Is this a good pitch or not a good pitch?
Am I taking it or not?
Exactly. And life comes up, and the experiences of life come up like that pitch coming at us constantly. New experience, new circumstances. And when our old habits start to kick in, like I want to swing at this pitch because it looks good, but and you got to change your mind quickly. And the instantaneous, the quicker you can choose to do the right thing before your old habits of maybe not doing the right thing set in. And that was the thought that I had, to choose quickly, because you know what the right thing is. Sometimes you just get overwhelmed by old habits, and to try and do a behavior modification of changing some of those old habits quickly, because we all know what the right thing is instantly, but we get caught in, well, I can't do that because, or they don't deserve it, or something of that type, but we know what it is. Just do it quick. Take that pitch, or don't, but make the right choice fast.
I like that, Mike. I like it. So it really depends what you're saying. Is actually what kind of muscle memory have I developed in order to, in the quickest way, in the clearest way, what kind of muscle memory have I developed, whether it's on this side or that side, in order to make spot-on decisions?
Can we move on to Joan Halpern with her hand up?
Hi, everybody. My question is, where does love fit into these three categories? Because it's not movement action. It involves thought. It doesn't have to involve words. I can sit here and send love via the airways to everybody in their box on Zoom. Which of the categories does that fit into?
Wow, that's a good one, Joan. I would have to say that the source of the love energy would actually be seeded, would originate in the higher realm that we're not up to yet, in machshava, that actually trickles down into the world of dibur, the world of human communication and words, and then trickles down into the world of deed. But
So,
love, I would say, originates from the higher realm of machshava that we're not even talking about yet. That it originates in machshava and then trickles down into the world of manifesting love through deed, is the trickle down effect, but it originates in machshava, which is a higher realm.
is this also true for all feelings, that they're sourced in thought?
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Absolutely.
You're back. You're on, Rabbi.
Okay. You know, when you come to think of it, the world of body and soul, you know, if we separate body, the connection between body and soul, and in a way, I'm addressing what Donna said half hour ago. When we talk about the interconnectedness between body and soul, and body is basically the same as ego, is so complex, because we are talking about energies within us that are both infinite and finite, both tangible and intangible and invisible, both, in Shneur Zalman's language, both animalistic on one side of the spectrum and divine, both transcendent and immanent. When we talk about the human being, the duality, the paradoxes in which the human psyche is involved in are from extreme to extreme. And Reb Shneur Zalman is saying that the wire, the fundamental wire, the connector that connects this unbelievable source of energy, this unbelievable source of energy, to this reality, is the olam hamaaseh, is the realm of action, the realm of doing. And friends, I can't, you know, I can't, I just ask you to meditate on that. That the word, that what we do, what our practices are, has a deep effect on our inner lives. Has a deep effect on our inner lives. Can you think exercise? Or does exercise require to enter into the world of doing? Can you think? Can you contemplate? Can you meditate exercise? Just think about it for a sec. Can you think dieting? I'll ask you a better one. Can you think breathing? No to all of them. No to all of them. On one level, let's face it, on one level or another, doing the olam, the realm, the dimension of doing is all important. Is all important. I think good thoughts. Do we do good thoughts? do we translate, do we convert good thoughts into the realm of doing? Let's go on. That is the garment of ma'aseh, of doing. Let's go on to the garment of dibur, of words. Okay, again, words is just one of the synonyms. You can use many synonyms for this. It's just easier to use one word, but the realm, the garment of words is the way that we communicate. The way that we communicate, speech. So, friends, speech is a form of behavior, correct? No? Shake your little kepelech a little bit. Speech, in one way, is a form of behavior. So why is not speech in the category of maaseh, of doing? Because when we speak, we are doing. Why is what was it that the mystic said speech is mamish, like in a separate category of doing? So admittedly, speech is a form of behavior, but this is the upshot, friends. The garment of the levush of words is absolutely so much more subtle than behavior. That's why. It is the subtleness of the dynamics of communication that puts the world of words in a separate category from behavior. Because with dibur, with words, what we are able to capture the emotional tone of the neshama that employs that garment of speech. That's why. Somehow it is the words that we use, the words that we choose to communicate, the tone of the words, the tone of the words that we are communicating has a sublimity to it that reflects more closely, more accurately the energy of the neshama more than an action. Yes or no? In other words, words are more sublime than, in terms of sublimity, words are more sublime than the realm of action. If I give you a loving present and I hand it to you in your hands, that is an action that reflects my love for you, my admiration for you. But if I give that same present to you and I add words, or I add a note to you that expresses words, man, does that elevate? Man, does that elevate the vibrations of that gift? The sensitivity of the olam hadibur, the world of speech, is much closer and reflects much more accurately the energy level coming from your inner core, your inner Shama. So the world of Dibur is so highly sensitized. It's so sensitive. Did you ever get insulted by one person that said, not a whole sentence, not a whole paragraph, but mamish one word, and you got hit like an arrow through your heart?
Yep.
Come on, of course you did. One word. Oh, ouch, ouch. You just killed me with one word, not even with one word. With the intonation of that one word. Not even the intonation, just the expression on your face killed me. You just assassinated me. How highly sensitized the realm of Dibur is. Gewalt. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And added upon that, the speech tends to increase the emotional amplitude. Speech has a way, if I mention like one word to another person, one incident in their life, one word. I don't want to mention words because I don't want to make you laugh. I don't want to make you cry. I don't want to be in the position. But you mentioned the word. If I mention the word, father or mother, even in a casual, and I start the amplitude of someone that you're speaking to, if you mention any particular word, can trigger an emotional kind of vibration that can take that person or you yourself into orbit. Into orbit. You mentioned the H word to a survivor, the Holocaust, the H word, you mention it casually, it will trigger, that one word will trigger that person into realms that we have no idea. And that is true of all words. That's true of all words. So I just want to hear for a second your intake of the power of words, that the sensitivity, how words and how our speech is so more closely related to neshama than deeds. Deeds is one thing. Deeds affect neshama, as we said, but words are so highly sensitized. The neshama is sensitized towards words, and there is no coincidence that it is words, abara kedabara. I will create as I use words, abracadabra. I will create through words. Words have a way of creating on the most sublime level. That's why we love Torah, because Torah, the words spring out. The words are alive. That's why we love poetry. Because words have a way of creating very sublime things that the neshama resonates with. Kim.
Now are we ready?
So I want to hear about your experiences, with words, and how powerful words speak to the inner soul.
Now are we ready for that?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
You have 20 minutes before the end of the class. We have Bruce, Micheline, and Molly.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Rabbi.
Hi, Brucilla.
In college, I had a double major, English and speech, and I wound up teaching English and speech for most of my life. And in terms of preparing students to make certain types of speeches before the class, I noticed I paid, I'm now thinking maybe too much attention to the words, certainly including intonation and certain vocalizations and the quality of the voice. But the other aspect that I feel in institutionalized teaching of speech that is generally underestimated, I believe, is facial expression, that we read as we listen, that we read the face of the person who is speaking, as well as listening to the tone of the voice and the content of the words. But frequently, the facial expressions and sort of attitude that's reflected therein is frequently affecting how the words of the person is being accepted or interpreted.
Absolutely. That Bruce, thank you. We're just pointing to the absolute sublimity of how we speak and the different variables that go into the facial expressions and the intonations even. You know, you can say the same thing in the words can be the same, but depends on your voice, could be loving or could be angry. You know, it's so unbelievable how the vehicle of speech, the garment of speech is so highly sublime. It's holy. It's holy.
Thank you. Micheline and Molly.
I just thought of two things. The first one would be when my daughter was little, about 2, and she was playing and looking at me and playing and looking at me, and then all of us, and she was repeating the word ma, 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 ma while she was playing, and then all of a sudden she made eye contact and said mama, and realized what that word really meant. So the action and the words together combined, and it was so deep. And then the other thing I thought about was, you know, during COVID, we've had all this time where we don't touch. And so we say, I missed you, I love you, I care for you. But when someone hugs you and has that deed of hugging and touching and saying those words together, the depth is all the way to the soul.
Beautiful segue. I'm going to talk about that in a minute, Micheline. Beautiful segue of how the realm of dibur and the realm of ma'aseh, how word and action are going to intercourse one with the other, affect one and the other. Okay.
It'll be Molly and then Alyssa. And then you're back on for the close, Rabbi.
Okay.
Morning, Rabbi. Morning, everyone. It is quick. I think most of us, or a lot of us, when we were growing up, were always taught, think before you speak. Words matter. And so as you go through life, you realize how many people don't think when they speak. And they speak because the silence scares them. They feel that unless they speak, you won't look at them or acknowledge them. So they speak, but sometimes the things they say are so horrible and they don't come out right. So you want to wear a banner some days that just says, think before you speak. If you're going to speak, make it have meaning. Make it be worth something. And then what you're going to talk about is, once you speak, back it up with action. If you don't back it up with action, if you just speak it for the sake of speaking it, it isn't going to have any value to me or anyone else. You can say, I'm sorry, but if you repeat the same action over and over again, you're not sorry. You can say, I love you, but if you treat me despicably, then they're just words and they have no meaning. So everything is a thought, has to be thought out, and you have to think, and we don't always do that. That's all.
Good one. Thank you so much. That was good. That was excellent.
Lisa.
There are two things that come to mind from your speaking, Rabbi. It's so good to see you, and I can't wait.
Same here, Elisa.
In person. The idea of speech, I realized how strong it can be when I was writing prayers in Laura Lennis's group, the writing group, prayer writing group. I knew the impact of my words by the reaction of people towards the prayers I had written. And it was very profound how how my words came across. I was very moved by it and inspired by that. And the other thing about action, I remember not understanding. I remember times of not understanding certain prayers or the certain movements with prayer, certain bows, certain movements that were done with the prayers. And I was told, and I don't remember who it was who said to me, do it and the understanding will come later. And it made sense. I then felt, okay, I'm doing this. I don't know why I'm doing it, but eventually it'll fall into place, and it usually does. So those are my two insights, or the two of your comments.
Okay, Lisa, thank you. On the second, on your second point, I just have to I have to qualify something. Do it until it works. Only works to a certain extent. Okay, it only works to a certain extent. Do it until it works means, as I said before, welcome the action. Do not expect immediate results, because we can't expect immediate results from nearly anything. So welcome, absorb the experience, keep on doing it until you have fully explored that experiential realm. However, to keep on doing something after X amount of time without any results, then to keep on doing that is I believe is going into dangerous territory, is going into, I will continue doing this even though there is no experiential benefit coming to me. That already it could be what one can be becoming robotic. One can becoming like cultish. I'm going to do this even though I'm not getting any, right? So what one has to really gauge oneself to do the experiment on experiential things, and then come to a decision, and actually not to continue with things that are proven to be, not to give in to that temptation. I'll become a robot. Okay, it's just a little qualification.
And go ahead, Rabbi.
Elisa's talking.
Oh, she's muted.
Elisa. Okay.
If the behavior becomes meaningless, then there's no point in doing it.
Yes, yeah, that's my point. We have to gauge very carefully.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. I agree with you.
So friends, once we're talking about the first and second garments, the levushim, mamish garments that we wear, that we choose to dress in, that we choose to manifest the inner core. So we do have to admit that speech, our modes of communication, influences our modes of behavior. Each one is going to be an influence on each other. Take it like this. There is an interchange between these two realms. Let me come up with an example. Many acts of gemilut chasadim, let's say, many acts of loving kindness. Many of those are greatly enhanced by loving speech. Loving speech tends to give birth to loving acts, loving acts of kindness. The way we speak is a wire to the world of Maaseh, and vice versa, our worlds of loving acts is in turn going to affect how we speak. One thing I do have to mention before we run out of time is in Jewish tradition in general, coming like all the way from the Torah and then from the Talmud for sure. But one of the things coming from the school of Chabad, that takes so much into consideration these psycho-spiritual places, is to be very careful in the realm of Dibur. The seventh Lubavitcher Rebbe, the last one, Menachem Mendel, was known in many instances, which I really appreciated and learned from, that as much as possible in the realm of Dibur, in the realm of speech and communication, that we very much stay away, to the best of our ability, stay away from negative language. He was very specific. The Hebrew word for a hospital is Beit Cholim. Beit means by it, the house of Cholim, of the sick. Beit Cholim, a hospital, the house of the sick. And like early into his.
Could you shut that off just for a bit?
Early into his Rebbe-ship. This is one out of many examples. He says for Jews, let's stop using, let's eradicate this modern Hebrew terminology of Beit Cholim, the house of the sick. He says that's not correct. That's not in the spirit of the realm of Dibur to call a hospital, which is supposed to be a place where the sick are healed, to call it the house of the sick. He says that expression affects it affects those that are in that place, to call those that are in those places the house of the sick. We're calling them sick people. He says that is illegitimate. That is an illegitimate usage of wording. Call it beit refuah. Call it the house of healing, not the house of the sick. Do you see how exact that was? And I believe that this is just an example of, and this is our homework for next week, is find yourself, catch yourself using a type of language that you are able to catch yourself and saying, this is nicht gut. This is not doing my soul any good. This is not contributing to the light within. This is actually dimming a light. The use of language, the use of language that creates imagery and then psycho-spiritually affects my little tender neshama. Let's catch ourselves in such a thing, and change it for ourselves. Change it for ourselves. Okay, Kimala, what do we have going on?
We have so much going on.
Okay.
Rabbi Uri is taking us on a deep dive into Lamentation, Echa, and it's the scroll that we read on Tisha B'Av, and it will help prepare us for the holidays and for the Tisha B'Av program with Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi David starts this Wednesday, Church and State. And check your e-blast for a powerful message from Rabbi Akiva, and for all the programs for the week. And thank you all. Thank you, Rabbi.